She said being pregnant, sex is crazy good.
You know, I guess maybe it's one of her hormonal swings that made her feel like she had to share that with them.
Beaky, are you a Britney? Would you knock Britney up, Beaky?
Would I knock her up? I'm not sure quite what you mean by that. She's a very attractive young lady, yeah, but there's no question about that, Al. I think you have to reply to suggest
hello. What are you thinking about? Of course she would.
But she's calming down.
Get in there, Beaky.
Get in there, Beaky. But then
knocking her up would imply impregnate her, wouldn't it?
I would think so, yeah. If he said that in the States, that's what she'd think. It's not giving her an alarm clock 5:45.
No.
Which he could do with Alan, ideally. Now, 20 minutes later... No, 20 minutes later, he took it even a stage further. Now, Batman, I'm a big Batman fan, I have to say. Well, I thought the TV series...
Would you knock Batman up, or...
Batman? Would you knock Batman up? What, Adam West or Desmond Sir Val Kilmer? It was George Clooney. Term anyone from about 5, couldn't you, really, of various ages. Anyway, this was Alvin. He spends a lot of time with Adrian.
A lot of time, isn't it? Yeah. They're so familiar.
He doesn't know whether he's at home or he's at work.
The European champions, you said it, that's what they are. Now, you putting that down to just Steven Gerrard on his own, or you putting it down to something... Steven Gerrard wouldn't have won it without him. Right. Hold on a minute. Steven Gerrard was quoted as saying, Did I just call you my wife's name there? Because you know what it is, when I'm in an argument, that's what I do. Let me just say, Steven Gerrard said we can't win the Champions League. Benitez had to convince him that he could win the Champions League. Oh, no, your wife. Am I going to have to take over because you're going all hysterical now?
Gone. Fantastic. So, don't you really? Because it takes us back to Mike's line about, I do not have a heterosexual bone in my body.
That's the one.
I don't fancy Henry to beat Ronnie in the final over that distance. But anybody else, I think Henry could win again.
John Higgins always excites me, Willie.
There we are. Of course, Willie Thorne, that was.
That's right, yeah.
Just to clear that one up.
He's a good-looking fellow, John Higgins, though.
Yeah. Now, Mike, he does a bit of counselling, doesn't he?
Oh, yes, that's right.
And he loves to help people if they're feeling a little bit fragile.
So sensitive, I think, to people.
Yeah, and I think he proved it beautifully here.
You said it's completely under your control how ghastly life was as a fatty, to put it, into perspective. Why then did you allow so many years to go by with you looking repulsive, feeling repulsive, and actually, you could have changed it with a bit of self-discipline? Well, other people do that. They don't end up looking like Mr. Blobby. But how disciplined do you have to be now, Andrew, to make sure you don't go back to being Billy Bunter? Do you have to have two different wardrobes so that when you're in fat mode, you put on the big trousers, and when you're in thin mode, you put on the small ones?
Right, so you're not the tallest guy?
No, I'm not.
In fact, you look like a bit of a blob at times, do you?
God, blimey.
Hello, is that the Samaritans?
Yeah. Poor bloke. 10 foot high when he left.
That's right.
Put that phone down.
Oh, great, didn't he?
Now, this is the guy.
Oh, yes.
It's Mr. Whale. He doesn't make many appearances in the clips of the week, and he probably doesn't deserve to here because he'd soldiered on. But somehow, he came to work sounding like this.
Listen, just before we start tonight, fantastic. You've still got time to get this fabulous Sony multi-media laptop. It is the state-of-the-art, high-grade, top-quality.
Poor old James.
Not good, was it?
Did he make the 3 hours? I'm not sure he did.
I think he did. It was incredible.
Fantastic work.
Yeah.
Well, there we are. That's the clips of the year, and that is the best of TalkSport 2005. Thanks very much for listening. Just leaves us to say, have a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Yes, absolutely.
In front of me in a queue when I'm waiting for a burger saying, I'm a very busy man. Sounds so unlike him, that, doesn't it? The BBC trying to jazz...
Really do that?
Well, apparently. Can't you imagine him doing that?
You can.
The BBC trying to... push in front of these people and get me a burger. Who are they? They're nobodies. Although we did that in the queue for the toilets at the sports cafe, but we were back on air in 5 minutes, and the queue was about 20 minutes long.
We did have to do, do you know who we are? We're from an important sporting organisation.
They said, no, get to the back. So, he had to beg.
Hungry.
Please, mate, let us in. We're on in 5 minutes.
Who's this from? This doesn't say, but it's someone who says... No, it's Brian, I think. And he says, I'd like people to stop having a go at United for their out-of-town fans when it's quite obvious that every other team have just as many. I do agree that it's a really tired old thing, isn't it, that people having a go and saying, well, you know, you better leave early, you've got to get on the motorway and all that stuff.
No, it's true. It does drive him mad. And finally, Mark, he says, as a young man, I went to Budapest on a stag weekend. Not being wealthy chaps at that age, we stayed in a place called Hotel Reela, which really should have been called Hostel Reela. More parasite pageant than beauty pageant, he says.
dear.
For some reason, the lady who ran the hotel took a shine to us, and on our last night, she prepared a meal for us before we went out. It was soon evident she was no Delia Smith. But to be polite, we tucked in. Unluckily for us, we were only told afterwards we'd just eaten stewed marrow bone.
Oh,
yes,
nice.
Even today, a shudder goes down my spine every time I see a tin of pedigreed chum.
That's also buco. That's lovely. That's a delicacy.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, that's true, but maybe not in that form.